How's it going, guys? I'm Josh Katz. We are in New York City's West Village, and today I'm going to teach you how to photograph strangers in street photography. Now, photographing strangers is the essence of street photography, and there's so many different ways to do it. There's the jamming your camera into someone's face method, there's the subtle, candid hip shot, there's the posing your portraits of strangers, so many different ways. And talking to a stranger and approaching them initially is an intimidating thing. It takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of confidence, and it's hard to initially jump into it. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through step by step on how to build your confidence and nail those beautiful street photos. And if you're not too familiar with street photography, I have a more thorough tutorial linked to that right over here that covers everything from the ethics to the history to the best camera settings. Definitely check that out if you haven't seen it before. Before we jump in, a quick preface. First of all, you've got to be very fast with your photos for street photography because moments are fleeting. Always have your settings lined up so you can take super quick photos within a half a second when the opportunity presents itself. And if you don't know what the good, most optimal camera settings are, definitely check out my street photo tutorial. Secondly, strangers. I call these people strangers because it's quick to the point and direct. However, strangers has such a negative connotation. It's very intimidating. It's like we should be afraid of them. Fact of the matter is, it's a bad attitude to go into street photography with. Think of them as people you haven't met yet that very well might be friendly, and you'll have a much more positive experience going out shooting. And lastly, before we actually take the most incredible shot of the day, of that perfect moment, you're gonna have to fire off some bad shots. And every time I go out street shooting, I have to work up my confidence. So I always shoot some bad photos first that I know are of nothing, so that when that perfect opportunity comes along, I'm all ready, I'm confident, and I'm ready to grab that shot. All that being said, let's jump in. We're gonna break this down into 4 simple steps to get progressively more intimate with shooting your subject. So step number 1 is the most passive method. That is photographing subjects that don't know they're being photographed. And this is a really great way to break into street photography because it's good practice getting your eyes to the street, getting acquainted with everything and observing people, yet not having to deal with that intimidating factor of actually working with subjects. So a great way to do this, one is using a telephoto lens. This helps you be much further away from your subject, and the further away you are, the less likely you are to be noticed. Another easy way to photograph subjects without them knowing is by following them from behind. So this isn't going to be as compelling of a shot as when you catch people head on and get their facial expression and all that emotion. However, it's a really great way to practice actually taking photos while moving, being quick and on your toes, following people around. These are all very important parts of street photography, and people oftentimes won't notice you as long as you maintain enough of a distance. And worst case scenario, they turn around, not a big deal. Another great way to photograph people is by taking these very wide street scenes that have multiple people in them. So it's not like you're singling anyone out, it's more that they happen to be in your shot. One of the best spots you can do this on is a busy intersection because you'll have a lot of people moving around, coming in and out of the frame. If you are going to places where people are hanging out and staying still, you're gonna end up engaging with your subjects because they're stuck in the same corner for a while. Meanwhile, if you have people coming into your frame, there's a lot more movement and a lot less people will notice you shooting. Another technique for getting closer up with your subjects, yet not having to engage, is staying in your camera. Now what I mean by that is, let's say I have someone walking down the street and I want to take their photo. So what I could do is I could take their shot and immediately look at it, and they're going to know that I took their photo. Meanwhile, if I take their photo and let them keep walking a little bit further and continue to shoot, maybe even just fire one up at the sky or something, they're now going to think I'm just photographing anything else that isn't them, and it's a great way to misdirect them. Now, this isn't the most honest thing, and I personally don't recommend this because I like to engage with my subjects and get to know them. However, if you're still working up the confidence, this is a really great place to start, and it's still going to give you that thrill of taking a street photo. Do this a couple times and then move on to actually engaging with your subject. You shouldn't be afraid to let them know you're taking the photo. Next off, let's talk about phase 3, taking portraits of strangers. So this is a really awesome way to get comfortable taking photos of people you haven't met yet because you have their permission to do so.
Oh! Whew. It's a little harder.
Ah, that was almost brutal. All right, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Good luck.
I'm trying to get a shot where someone rejects me, and I just keep meeting really delightful people that make recommendations on improving my life and learning about good artists. It's the worst out here in New York. So my challenge to you is to go up to 10 people and ask them if you can take their photos. Some of these people are gonna say yes, some of these people are gonna say no, but that is the exhilarating part of it. You're gonna get rejected and it doesn't matter. You've got nothing to lose here. Worst case scenario, you move on with your day. Best case scenario, you get a beautiful photo. Some people say that street portraiture is street photography. The purists say it isn't. I say it really doesn't matter. You're out here taking cool photos on the street. So some tips for doing this. First of all, make sure you're in the right place where people are gonna be down to have their photos taken. So if you go outside a music festival, everyone's trying to look cool, they're thrilled to have their photos taken. Meanwhile, if you go to a mafia picnic, they're not gonna be as happy to have their photos taken, and you might get whacked. So go to a place where people are happy, and most cities, people are very down. Everyone's trying to dress to the nines in these nice neighborhoods like the West Village, so everyone's really happy to have their photo taken typically. Another thing is the actual approach. So don't just say, hi, can I take your photo? It sometimes sounds a little bit creepy. I like to interlude with something like, hey, I like you for this reason. I like your style, I like the hat you're wearing, I like the way you're sitting down, anything. Just give them any sort of compliment and it shows why you're taking the photo. It makes you a lot friendlier, or just strike up a genuine conversation. Say, oh, what's going on here? What are you up to right now? Get to know them first a little bit and then take their portrait. Everyone has their own strategies, but I think anything to buffer between you actually taking their photo and when you first meet them, you're gonna get better shots because you get to know them a little bit more and connect a little bit more. So when you go in to ask for someone's portrait, make sure your camera is all set up because you never know how patient they're gonna be. They might give you 5 seconds, they might give you 5 minutes, or a whole hour. So be ready to grab some quick shots. I always start by photographing these people in their natural habitat, whatever they were already doing. And then if they seem enthusiastic and willing, I might have them pose a little bit. Or if they're very friendly, maybe even ask them to move over a whole block to a particular spot I had in mind. So you really just have to gauge social cues, see how willing they are. You might end up doing a whole portrait shoot with one person, and that's a beautiful thing, to connect with the stranger and do that. Take it as it goes, have an open mind, and have some good conversation while you're at it. Yeah, this guy's been on Law & Order multiple times. That's crazy. And I think I just got excellent headshots of him. So sometimes street photography becomes portraiture. Totally okay. Different type of photo, but still very fun. Next off, moving on to phase number 4, and this is the most intimidating one, is going up and taking that candid photo. So when you take a candid photo of someone just right in their face without permission, then you gotta be really quick about it because you're gonna get 1, maybe 2 shots before they notice and react. So maybe you want to photograph them candidly, maybe you want to photograph their angry reaction when they realize the camera's in their face, or maybe you want to lead into a portrait session after that and see what happens. Now there's a whole wide range of things that can happen when you go and take a photo without their permission. They might lean into it and want to take a portrait. They might be really angry and get mad at you and ask you to delete the shot. You really just have to go in with respect and be prepared for this full range of actions. It's also really important to know your rights. So in the US, it's perfectly legal in most states to take street photos, but in the words of Bruce Gilden, if someone's pissed off, it's not gonna stop them from punching you in the face. So don't be a jerk. I highly recommend leading in with a smile. And when they see that you took the photo, explain, oh yeah, I liked your hat, or I liked your style. And this makes it a lot more comforting of an experience for both of you guys. And even offer to send them the shot if they seem happy. If they seem angry, don't be afraid just to move on or apologize. Just be friendly, be respectful. That'll earn you a much better experience on the street, and it'll prevent that nose from being punched for sure. Just be prepared to encounter a wide range of emotions. You're gonna make some friends, you're gonna make some enemies, and that's what makes street photography so exhilarating. Hopefully the positive experiences outweigh the negative, but do be prepared for some negative ones. And those are my 4 different techniques for taking great street photos. Now, while it is most scary and exhilarating to take those candid photos without permission, that doesn't mean those are gonna be the best photos for you. Now, I highly recommend you try all 4 of these techniques to see what you enjoy doing, what you find connects most with your subject, what you find gets the best photos for you, because there is no right way to do it. Some of my favorite photographers, best street photographers I know, only do the having people walk into pre-composed frames. Others only do the candid shot, and others just do combining these methods. So for example, sometimes I'll follow someone for 3 blocks and then ask to take their portrait once I see a really nice background for them. Other times I'll have a shot pre-composed waiting for someone to walk in the frame, then I'll see someone and I'll just be like, I'm ditching everything. I'm gonna go follow them and take their portrait. Sometimes I'll take a candid photo of someone and then that'll lead into a whole portraiture shoot with them. You really just have to keep an open mind, be excited to engage with people on the street and see where that's gonna take you. And you'll find yourself taking all these methods with stride and getting some really beautiful shots. If you found this video helpful, definitely let me know in the comments, subscribe even, and post any street photos you take that you're proud of using the hashtag JoshKatzPhotos on Instagram and tagging me at JoshKatz, because the reason I teach is to see you guys progressing. It means the world to me, and I love seeing your work. So that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you eventually.